everybody, my name's Eric Hopkins, this is my good buddy Brandon, and welcome to our YouTube channel. If you're finding us for the very first time, please click that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications about when we put up new content right here on this channel. And this is our weekly NFL recap show where we go over all the news, injuries, rumors, and all that good stuff, scores, and once week one starts here for everything that's going on in the National Football League. We're a little bit of in a lull here between preseason week 3 and, of course, the start of the regular season that begins this Thursday night with the Cowboys at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, these defending Super Bowl champions. Welcome Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and the like, all here on the opening kickoff game. And we'll probably preview a little bit of week 1 here before the video's out. But before we get into that, let's get into some of the news and things that's going on around the league leading up to week 1 here. First things first, a big bit of news that came out last week actually was the fact that the New England Patriots cut their quarterback Cam Newton in favor of the rookie Mac Jones. Big time cut there. A lot of us didn't exactly see that one coming.
Brother.
I mean,
no, because I was at work, or we were at work, and I was like, who said it to me first? Was it you?
It might have been. I know I kind of was like, whoa, did y'all see that? You know, kind of go around talking to some of the guys and stuff.
I got an alert on my phone.
Okay.
So I looked at it and I went, but I thought it was one of those, BS websites or whatever. So I was like, okay, whatever. I didn't pay attention to it. And then, when I came back or whatever, I saw you and you said it. And I was like, oh, it is real.
Yeah. Well, I remember mentioning last week here on this show that I thought Mac Jones had been looking really good in preseason. And I believe I even mentioned it, that I thought maybe a month in or something, I could maybe see him taking that job from Cam Newton. And Bill Belichick, never to doubt that guy because he knows what he's doing. But I didn't expect it this quickly.
If you're a month in, he just did it.
Yeah, he just pulled the rug out. He's like, all right, we're done. And let's be honest, Cam Newton, I think, was mostly brought in until they were able to find who they wanted to go with for the future. And apparently they saw enough in preseason to say, all right, Mac's our guy. And I'm not going to lie, I thought Cam looked good in the preseason from the little bit that I've seen him, especially a little more time in this system and this offense. But I do think that Mac Jones still looked better than Cam Newton all the way around, unfortunately. And not even so, I even took some New England players in my fantasy drafts, which we'll get into a little bit here before the end of the show too. We'll be talking a little bit of our fantasy league with our coworkers and some of the people who are not in our job anymore. But so yeah, I just think Mac Jones he looked good enough to me. Now again, that's preseason. Now watch, those New England players won't pay off for me after all. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, so wham bam, thank you Cam. That's kind of what I'm calling this. So yeah.
But it was kind of unexpected though, too,
yeah.
Because I thought, okay, yeah, they'll probably keep Cam. Nothing else, if they want to start Mac Jones, start him, and then keep Cam as a backup. But
yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, who is their backup now? I'm not even sure. Maybe it's and obviously Cam Newton's a bit. I don't know if the eccentric's the right word, but he's kind of got a little bit of an ego issue. I think a lot of other teams have kind of. I know the Panthers. It says if you just watch his career in the NFL, you can kind of tell he's got a bit of a big head about him. I don't know if that's part of and obviously New England's not going to take any of that. They've always had that reputation. They don't want any of that drama outside of maybe I don't know if Randy Moss really did. But he was kind of a bit of a diva receiver at times and things like that too. But I mean, I understand why they made the move, and it makes perfect sense. I just didn't expect it that quick, and I don't think anybody else did either.
Nobody did.
No, not exactly. A few other things that happened throughout the league this week. The Indianapolis Colts signed wide receiver Kiki Cutie, who used to be from the Houston Texans, to their practice squad. And I know Brandon, I mentioned this in our fantasy draft. Brandon's like, that's a made-up name. That's not real.
That's not a real name.
No, he's a real name. Actually, he had some fantasy value at one point, but nothing major.
Which means someone named their child
Kiki Cutie. Yeah. Well, I mean, Mr. Cutie, may I seat you, sir? Can you imagine saying that?
Table for two, cutie. Table for two,
cutie.
What did he just say?
Yeah, cutie. Yeah. But hey, it's a practice squad move. I think it's more of a depth move at receiver for the Colts. It's not. I don't think he's going to be seeing the playing field anytime soon, most likely. But if a guy goes down, fingers crossed that don't happen. Knock on wood. throw some salt over your left shoulder, whatever you got to do to stop that from happening. We don't want that. It's already bad enough. T.Y. Hilton's going to probably miss at least the first few weeks of the season, maybe longer. We'll have to wait and see. That's a neck issue.
It's a lot more.
He might be. And to be honest, if he does, I don't think it's going to hurt the Colts too badly, as I've mentioned here on the show with Pittman and Pascal and Campbell. If all those guys can stay healthy, I think we'll be okay at the receiver depth. But it would be good to have his veteran leadership, no doubt about that. So hopefully he'll at least be able to be on the sidelines for all that. Also, the Baltimore Ravens just apparently today signed their tight end Mark Andrews to a 4-year, $56 million contract extension. So good for him. Obviously, he's been one of Lamar Jackson's favorite targets. Obviously, tight end is always that security blanket for a quarterback for the most part anyway. But until the Baltimore Ravens can establish their receivers a little bit more with Marquise Brown and maybe some other draft picks that they've got up here recently, Mark Andrews is definitely going to be the guy when it comes to Lamar Jackson throwing the ball around, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
The Ravens also, apparently, Justice Hill, the backup running back behind Gus Edwards right now, they've had some issues at running back. Obviously, they lost J.K. Dobbins for the season, and now Justice Hill has got an Achilles injury. So the Baltimore Ravens are working out Le'Veon Bell and Devontae Freeman, most likely to head up that backup role behind Gus Edwards at this point. But it's a little concerning for the Ravens. Obviously, Lamar's probably going to be doing a lot of the running work at times to begin with. But that's a good thing. At least they've got that, dual threat back there with Lamar Jackson. But interesting thing to note there to kind of keep an eye on the Ravens backup running back position. All right, and that's about all the big news that I can really sell, but there is a few other bits of news here when it comes to starting quarterbacks that were named throughout the league. Mac Jones, as we mentioned, has already been named the starter of the New England Patriots. Jalen Hurts, no surprise there, will be the starter of the Philadelphia Eagles, and many of us wondered what the Houston Texans were going to do with the Deshaun Watson situation. Now they have officially named Tyrod Taylor their official starting quarterback there in Houston to be throwing the ball to Brandon Cooks and all the receivers down there. So Deshaun Watson's still a member of the Houston Texans at this point, but it's not looking bright for his NFL future on the whole. So we'll have to wait and see. But if you want more information on that, go check it out, all the Google searches and stuff. We don't want to get into all that drama here on the channel. But also, there's a few other bits of news here when it comes to injuries. We had no games this week, so nothing more there. But wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints, Michael Thomas, will start the season on the PUP list and will miss at least the first 6 weeks of the season. So that's why he dropped in our fantasy draft for sure. I know our friend Brady picked him up in the later rounds. But again, you pick it up in the later rounds, if he comes back 6 weeks in, could be a steal. But as of right now, the New Orleans Saints are going to be without their star wide receiver. And I know some Saints fans, especially our friend at work, it kind of feels like he's a bit of a head case as well. Kind of like maybe they, he would be okay with him maybe even not coming back at all. But I'm sure he will at some point here. So we'll see what happens with Michael Thomas. Minnesota tight end Irv Smith had surgery to repair his meniscus. He is out 4 to 5 months. That's going to end his season most likely here. And the Minnesota Vikings traded for tight end Chris Herndon from the New York Jets. So Chris Herndon is now a member of the Minnesota Vikings. A guy that Chris Herndon, in a lot of fantasy circles especially, everybody's expected him to make that leap to kind of become a top tight end target for whatever team he's playing for, and definitely to be a fantasy stud. But it's just not really happened. He's had injuries, especially in the last few years with the Jets, and but he's got a big body, he's got a big frame. He can go up and get the ball. If he could get on the healthy side of things and actually work in this new system, could be a good target for Kirk Cousins, especially when you add in Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, and of course you got Dalvin Cook. That could be a good threat if Herndon can come up to speed here in this new system. So we'll see what they do, but I want to see it from Herndon before I anoint him the next big tight end threat here in the NFL. But we'll have to wait and see. Also, the aforementioned T.Y. Hilton had surgery on his neck and back to relieve pain on his disc issue and was placed on IR. He will miss at least a few games to start the season. It's not long-term or the season-ending IR yet. But again, anytime you deal with neck and back issues, yeah, it very well could be all the later stages of this. Let's hope he'll be back sooner rather than later. But that's concerning. So yeah, but we'll see what happens with T.Y. Hilton. That pretty much does it from what I can tell for the news here. I'm not seeing a whole lot more. I guess Dallas Goedert thought he'd have a deal done with the Eagles by the start of the season. That has not occurred yet. Other than that, there's not a whole lot going on right now due to the fact that the NFL is kind of, like I said, with Saquon Barkley close to being fully cleared for Week 1. So that's a good thing to keep an eye on there. Tom Brady revealed he had contracted COVID-19 shortly after the Bucs Super Bowl championship boat parade, so that's interesting to note. That didn't come out in the news back then, so that's interesting. Tennessee Titans quarterback Ryan Tannehill was activated off the COVID list, so that's good news for the Titans. So I mean, just some things like that. Not a whole lot going on here. Oh, and Dak Prescott is definitely ready for the season opener. He will play Week 1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so that's good for you in particular.
Yeah. Good for me.
Yeah. So that'll lead us.
Play him or Baker.
Baker, yeah. So with all that being said, let's get into some of our fantasy talk here. Since that is kind of the big news of the week, we had our fantasy football draft this last weekend, and I guess we'll just kind of run down who the top picks were, things like that, some surprises, things like that.
Back picks number 1 overall.
Yeah, I know. I got the number 1 overall pick. Again, there's no collusion. No collusion. It's all, fake news, all that sort of stuff. But no, it was just a totally random draft, but I ended up with the number 1 pick, which I'm not a fan of. I don't like the number 1 pick. I never have.
I don't know. I probably said, I picked 2. I picked right behind you.
Yeah, he picked number 2. Again, no collusion. No, hashtag not rigged. That sort of thing. I know it's always a running joke.
Picking number 2, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I'm not either because I hate don't get me wrong. I like the idea of taking the number 1 overall pick in fantasy drafts. Don't get me wrong, because it's usually a good player. But if that player don't pan out, or you still got to wait. In our league, it would be about 20 more picks before it comes back to you again. That part bothers me the most because all the good players are pretty well gone at that point, or it feels like it. But I did take Christian McCaffrey, number 1 overall pick. Obviously,
Christian McCaffrey.
I mean, I ended up. I know again sounds rigged, but in my family league, I also had the number 1 pick. Wow. So I don't know if you heard me, but
no, I heard that.
In my family league, I also had the number 1 pick today.
Brother, it's rigged.
It's not, but it was just like, brother.
He went to his family to get, for their draft. He picked number 1. And he had number 1 overall pick.
Again. See, did you hear that? Miranda, his wife, is also in our fantasy league. She had the number 9 pick out of 10. So, yeah. So yeah, I mean, so Chris McCaffrey, obviously the number 1 overall pick in most, and I took him in the other league too. But just because it's clear, as long as he stays healthy, which his injuries are more on the fluke sort of side of things a little bit. He doesn't have an injury history so much. Just last year was kind of bad for him, and it was an ankle injury and a shoulder injury he dealt with later in the season. So as long as those are okay, he should be all right to go. So I feel a little better about it. But you, at the number 2 pick, took Tyree Kill. Interestingly, I know there's going to be some people who watch this who might think Tyree Kill, number 2. A lot of people in some fantasy leagues are drafting Tyree Kill second round after a lot of the running backs go. But in our league, it's weird because it's not so much, it doesn't always follow the traditional fantasy league format.
Most of our people in our group are cutthroat pirates. And
it's true.
You got to get where you fit in. And if you're not in that top, upper echelon, of orders there, they're gone.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, Tyree Kill was not making it back to you. So if you wanted him, number 2 is the place to do it. But I mean, it's probably not a move I'd have made early.
You got to think about this too, though. There were some guys who sat for so long, and nobody picked them.
Mm-hmm. Gus Edwards was one. Yeah. Joe Mixon was another. Dropped 3-4 rounds beyond where he should have gone. Nobody wanted some players. And to be honest, I understand why some of these players did drop, because guys like Joe Mixon, he's always kind of considered, okay, he's going to be a stud. But then he either gets hurt, or there's weeks he just doesn't show up, or they use Giovanni Bernard or something like that. So I understand why some of the players dropped. Gus Edwards, a lot of people I don't think realized he was the starter, Gus Edwards, because of what happened to J.K. Dobbins. That was another reason. Our friend Brandy ended up picking him up later. So I mean, just the first round here, we'll just run it down here. We had 10 teams in our league. Christian McCaffrey, Tyree Kill, Derrick Henry went to our current fantasy champion, Matt, here, which we may have on the channel at some point.
I thought about picking him up. I'm not going to lie.
And to be honest, I thought about Derrick Henry at number 1, but I was like, because I'm going to kick myself if McCaffrey does the thing. At least in this case, everybody says go McCaffrey. I'll be wrong with everybody else if that's the case. So then Dalvin Cook went at 4, Alvin Kamara at 5, Jonathan Taylor at 6. I thought that was interesting. Damon and his mother Kelly are kind of doing this tag team thing here where they're controlling one team together. Jonathan Taylor, I would have loved to have got him in the second round, but I knew he wasn't going to come all the way back to me anyway. But interesting that he was the number 1 pick there for that team. Ezekiel Elliott, he went before Ezekiel Elliott, which is interesting. So Jonathan Taylor went 6, Ezekiel Elliott 7, Devontae Adams at 8, Nick Chubb at 9 to Brandon's wife Miranda, and Stephon Diggs.
Nick Chubb.
Yeah, and Stephon Diggs went number 10 to our friend Rocky, who had 2 back-to-back picks. He also took Aaron Jones at 11, so you can kind of go 1A, 1B there. But yeah, I mean, this, and of course, rounded out round 2. Amari Cooper, Saquon Barkley was the number 1, or the first. Let's see, was he the? No, it was the second running back that Bob took. He took Nick Chubb and Saquon. So if Saquon comes back healthy, Chubb and Barkley, that's a heck of a 1-2 punch.
Yep.
And in our league, you only have to start 1 running back because we just feel like the position's not deep enough to do 2 in a 10-team league. So we got a couple flex positions and things like that. So it'll be kind of cool to see how all that plays out with everybody. With Justin Jefferson after that, Travis Kelce, Calvin Ridley, Austin Eckler, DK Metcalf, Chase Claypool, number 2 for you. You went Tyree Kill and Chase Claypool. I'm not going to lie, that's a little early for me. But again, it's the guy you want. More than power to you. And then Najee Harris was my second pick. So McCaffrey and Harris. I know your wife was not thrilled with me taking Najee Harris.
No, I think she wanted Najee Harris, and as soon as you picked him, she said, "You son of a bitch."
Yeah, but of course, his wife is a definite big-time Pittsburgh Steelers fan. But she got a lot of Steelers too, so she got Ben Roethlisberger.
She drafted.
She got Juju.
She drafted so many Steelers. She finally looks at the thing. She goes, "Oh shit." I need to pick some other ones.
Some other players.
Week 7's about to be.
Well, you just gotta be like, that's just a write-off. You take out, you just chalk it up to a big fat L and you move on. I guess we got to this way. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, and then of course I took AJ Brown to start round 3. AJ Brown, I think he's coming off a bit of a knee injury, but I think he's supposed to be ready for week 1. But it is concerning, when a big time new young receiver is coming in, and it's like he's coming off a knee injury, no doubt about it. So yeah, I mean, definitely a good fantasy draft. Like I said, she got Ben Roethlisberger. Who else did you get? Let's see here. We can always pull this up by team.
Brother, I drafted so many Cleveland Browns fans. I need to wear a jersey.
I saw you took Baker Mayfield, which I wonder how that sets in your household there with your Steelers fam.
She just said, "I'll find a new place to sleep."
It's a new place to sleep. Let's just for fun. Let's run down the rest of Brandon's team here, so you all kind of know who Brandon took here. He has his starting lineup right now is Dak Prescott, which you got, I believe, around 4 or 5. So that's a good value there.
Still sitting there.
Again, I think a lot of people were just concerned with the injury, but again, they're talking like he's ready to go. So I don't think it's going to be a big issue. So good value there on your part. Tyree Kill, Chase Claypool, Raheem Mostert, Zach Ertz, Sony Michelle, and AJ Green for your starting lineup right here. You also have Carlos Hyde, DJ Moore, Hayden Hurst, Baker Mayfield, Nyheim Hines, Jarvis Landry, David Njoku, Kairos Santos, the Patriots and the Steelers defense, and Tay Crowder as a linebacker. So yeah, not too bad for especially a 10-team league. I don't think. I think nothing wrong with that. Sony Michelle, I'm kind of. Are you going to play him? Start him, or what's your play there? Because I think right now he's the backup.
Backup right now.
Yeah, but
point. I mean, start him. I'll keep him. I'll keep him. I figure I keep him for the most part until I see what's happening, and then if he becomes like a no value, then I'll see if I can pick somebody else up.
Yeah, I would just kind of watch it for now, considering new system, just got traded, that sort of thing. But yeah, if something happens to Darrell Henderson, no doubt about that. I think he could definitely be a guy worth watching. So yeah, I mean, got a couple backup spots here, but yeah, again, it's one of those things you just got to keep an eye on.
Honestly, I got enough to where I do have backup players for people's starters, and it wasn't intentional. Some of them I just was like, all right, well, I know he's there, and I could get some value out of him if something happens.
Right.
Or if he comes in for certain, what I mean? It depends on the matchup too. So,
well, it is one of those things too. I mean, some of these running backs, their starters are going to get hurt. It's just the nature of the beast. So you could fall into some fantasy gold, and there's no doubt about that. So we'll just have to see how that goes. Now, my team, I'll round out my team here. Justin Herbert, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen. So I got that 1-2 punch with Herbert to Allen. We'll see how that pays off.
Allen.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey, T.J. Hawkinson is my tight end. Najee Harris, Scary Terry, or Scored McLaurin, however you want to call it. Terry McLaurin there for Washington football team. Damian Harris, Kenny Galladay, who's coming off an injury. We'll see how that goes. Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, so I got the Denver backfield, no doubt about it. Justin Fields and Carson Wentz are my backup quarterbacks. I've also got Jacoby Myers and James White to go with Damian Harris to round out the New England backfield. So we'll see if I continue to keep both of those guys.
quarterback, because I know you ended up with
My
you
quarterback.
ended up with 3.
Yeah, I got
right?
Justin Herbert's my starter, and
Okay.
then Carson Wentz and Justin Fields. Justin Fields is not going to start week 1, but I got a feeling by week 4 he's going to be their starter. If not, I just drop him, no big deal. But and Carson Wentz, we'll see what he does, type of thing. But yeah, I know you've got your
Oh,
doubts.
yeah, I seen it. I seen when you picked him. I was like,
Yeah, because I looked at you, it's like, well, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and
you got to.
yeah. But again, we'll see how much of those I keep. I think Herbert's my guy as long as, let's pray nothing goes wrong there. But yeah, so again, knock on wood, throw salt over your shoulder, whatever you got to do to keep that from happening, no doubt. But yeah, so I'm not going to lie. A part of me wanted to go Mac Jones. But for whatever reason, I took Justin Fields. We'll see what happens. But
I mean, Mac Jones, he's a logical pick.
Rookies in
Right
general is going to be
Right.
kind of, yeah. And I kind of thought Tannehill would be a good backup, but he got taken before I got to him. But yeah, I still have high hopes for Jacoby Myers. That New England offense with Mac Jones, Mac Jones can hit like he looked in the preseason. I got a lot of hopes for him. And Damian Harris is going to get a lot of run anyway, just because Jones is a rookie. They're going to hand the ball off. So that's a good thing. So we'll see what happens there. I'm not sure anything about big-time surprises or anything that really happened in the draft.
No.
I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. Our current champion took Pat Mahomes, DK Metcalf, and Derrick Henry in the first 3 rounds. I thought that was a good 3-round haul there. Now, no offense, Matt, if you're watching this, I do feel like you kind of fell off after about round 5 because he took Kyle Pitts and he also took Mike Evans. And James Robinson was a good pick. I was wanting that player. So after that, though, it was like Dawson Knox, Henry Ruggs, Jamar Chase, we'll see what he does, Cole Beasley, Amon-Ra, St. Brown. Some of these guys I'm like, who? But, Jamar Chase, we'll see. Michael Pittman could have some potential, but
I wanted to grab Pittman. I did.
Yeah, I don't even know who Chuba Hubbard is. He's a backup running back for. He's behind Christian McCaffrey, but so I don't know how much play he's going to get now. If McCaffrey goes down, you got gold. But if he doesn't, you got nothing. So we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I don't want to run down every single team here. But yeah, there are a lot of good players here. We'll probably get into everybody's picks here as we go throughout the season. Maybe we'll have some guests as well. Hopefully, discussing some of the leagues and stuff here. Did you play any other leagues?
After just week 1.
Yeah, especially after week 1, we'll have a lot more to discuss when it comes to some of these moves. Who was actually
I
looking?
did. I got another league.
Did you have another league? I didn't know if you played with Tony or not, but
it was a couple other guys we wrestled with.
oh, dude, you ought to see you ought to hear my team for my family league real quick. Granted, it's a smaller league, so everybody's stacked. But listen,
this one is too. So, but like, I ended up picking first in this one. Okay.
Oh, rigged.
But you dare. Me. All right. So in this one, I got Patrick Mahomes, Calvin Ridley, Amari Cooper, Jason Taylor, Jonathan Taylor.
Oh wow, that's a good team already.
Najee Harris.
Wow.
Zach Ertz.
How big a league was this?
Chase Claypool. Hold on. Then I picked up Connor, Moisture, Naeem Hines, Pitts.
Well, Hines is good to have behind Taylor for sure.
Yeah. Jarvis Landry, Boswell, Pittsburgh defense. And
so some of the same players.
Yeah, I picked Rodgers, cornerback.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not too shabby. It's not too shabby. I like your starters. But yeah, are you going to check out how big the league is?
Yeah.
Now keep in mind, my family league is only 6 people.
I think that's what we got.
Okay, well that makes a little more sense then. But yeah, check out this roster here. My my 2 quarterbacks are Justin Herbert and Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my!
So I'm set. Hopefully, my receivers: Stephon Diggs, AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson are my top 3. 3 top 10 receivers, in my opinion. Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, James Robinson, and Damian Harris are my running backs. Again, Barkley and McCaffrey, if both guys are healthy, look out type of move. And, of course, I got some rookies down there toward the end. Some of the same guys I got in Tampa Bay's defense. Both leagues I got Darius Leonard as my linebacker, though, which I'm always glad to get Darius Leonard. To me, he's not as big as Ray Lewis used to be, but to me, he is all over the field like Ray Lewis used to be a little bit. He's always in on tackles and assisting tackles, things like that. So as long as he can stay healthy, I'm definitely happy about Darius Leonard. All right, well, that's enough fantasy talk a little bit here. Let's get into a little bit about week 1. We'll kind of let me run down the matchups here. Is there any particular game in particular that you're looking forward to this weekend? Off the top of your head, do you want me to run through the matchups first?
I mean, every one of my fantasies.
Right? Yeah, I think and one thing I really love about I mean, I know a lot of people like to get the NFL. I don't know if it's Game Pass or whatever it is that you can watch any game you want to watch. That's it's like ultra expensive. But I always love to just get the NFL Red Zone channel because it shows you every single score, every single highlight, touchdown, field goal, you name it. Every single score they show you. So it's a fantasy football manager's dream to see every single score, and even the highlights. Like, so if you're looking for a new player, they show you all the good plays. So I'm always looking forward to watching that. But the week one opens up with the Cowboys at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as we discussed earlier. You're going to have a vested interest in that with Dak Prescott, no doubt. I've got the Tampa Bay defense in one league, so I'll be a little bit invested in that. Otherwise, I don't think I have a whole lot of investment in either team this year. But that's just from a fantasy perspective. I hope the game's good. Opening game, I want to see a good game, and I'm glad Dak is played because if Dak wasn't played, I think it would have taken a little bit away from the opening night for me because it'd be like, all right, a lot of people expect the Buccaneers to win anyway, Super Bowl champions, raising their banner, first home game of the season, that sort of stuff. But with Dak and Ezekiel and CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, the entire Cowboys offense being on the field is going to make that game a lot better, I think. And we'll see how that defense does.
It's funny because it's actually, I'm going up against fucking Bob, and guess he's playing fucking Tom Brady.
Oh, he got Brady. See, he took Brady, and I thought he had another quarterback.
Which they play each other. So Dak Prescott against Tom Brady. Who was his game? It's me against Bob.
Who was his other quarterback though? He had.
He picked up.
He had a good one besides Brady, I thought. Aaron Rodgers is his other one. So that may change. However, I wouldn't be surprised if he does go Brady there. Like I said, the Cowboys' defense last year was atrocious. But the reason why they were staying at games when Dak was healthy was because of Dak. Dak was on pace, I believe, to throw 7,000 some yards. Now, he was probably going to slow down, but if he'd have kept that current pace he was on before he got hurt, he would have set all-time records because of how bad his defense was. He had to throw that much to keep them in football games. So if the Cowboys' defense has not improved any, I can see why he'd start Tom Brady here because Aaron Rodgers will be playing New Orleans, but that New Orleans game is going to be taking place. I believe they said it was Jacksonville because of the effects of Hurricane Ida. They're not going to be able to play in New Orleans for a while, so Rodgers and the Saints will be there.
I just realized I need to make an adjustment.
Well, there you go. Helping you out in your fantasy circles there. But yeah, so the rest of the games for week one, let's just run down the matchups here. Jacksonville will be in Houston. That'll be interesting to see Trevor Lawrence. Probably, if Lawrence can come out playing on all cylinders, that should be a game that he should be able to win. Now, with Tyrod Taylor being named the starter down there, Tyrod's serviceable, but the Jacksonville Jaguars, you would think, should be able to come in here and beat the Houston Texans. But I've been wrong before, so we'll see what happens. The Los Angeles Chargers versus the Washington Football Team, that could be an interesting one for sure. The Washington Football Team looked to be a little bit more improved this year, and the Chargers did not play any of their starters in the preseason, so that'll be interesting to see them for the very first time, see how that works. And I've got a definite interest in that one fantasy-wise. The Seattle Seahawks will travel to the Indianapolis Colts. That's a game, again, could go either way, in my opinion. I know a lot of people are going to take Seattle in this game because the Colts don't get any respect throughout the league. Let's be honest here, regardless of whether they're good or not. However, I think the Colts defense is pretty good. It's serviceable. Now, of course, that's a high-powered offense with Russell Wilson and Chris Carson and Metcalf and Lockett, the whole bunch. So if we can hold them down, I think as long as the Colts offense can put up some points, that could be an interesting game here, especially at home. I want to see the Colts start out fast here, but that's just me speaking from a Colts fan. The New York Jets will visit the Carolina Panthers. The Minnesota, well, let's see here. Who was the Zach Wilson? I think that's the name of their starting quarterback in the Jets. Will face Sam Darnold, which is the former Jets quarterback. So that'll be an interesting matchup to see Darnold go against his old team here. So that'll be fun to watch week one, no doubt about that. And of course, I've got McCaffrey in both leagues, so I'll be checking that out. The Minnesota Vikings will travel to the Cincinnati Bengals. Another interesting matchup with Joe Burrow and Kirk Cousins. A lot of high-powered offensive, players in that game. So that could be fun to watch. The Arizona Cardinals will travel to the Tennessee Titans. That's a game I think the Titans should win outright. I know Kyler Murray is definitely up there with a lot of fans. But to me, the Arizona Cardinals, their running game is suspect to me. It has been for a while.
He called them. He said their running game is sus.
Yeah, they are sus. Yeah, just like in that game. What's the game?
Sus.
Yeah, he definitely totally sus here. But their receivers, I don't think Larry Fitzgerald is playing. I want to say that he's. I know he wasn't drafted in any of our fantasy leagues. I want to say I don't think he's like holding out per se, but I think he said at one point he has no need. He doesn't feel the need to come back. So that's a shame to see him just kind of fade away at this point, unfortunately. But of course they got DeAndre Hopkins, so that's going to be a target, no doubt about it. The AJ Green thing, no offense to you, I don't think he's going to be much of anything in Arizona. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he comes in there and fills that old veteran role that Larry Fitzgerald has. That's also a possibility. But the Tennessee Titans here, I think they're just too strong here. As long as they get AJ Brown and Julio Jones clicking, of course, Derrick Henry, that offense is going to be scary to deal with, no matter who you are. As long as their defense plays up to snuff too, they're going to be a tough team to match up here in the AFC South. The San Francisco 49ers travel to the Detroit Lions. That's a game. I've never been a big Detroit Lions fan, but the 49ers, I'm intrigued to see what they do at the quarterback position with Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo, no doubt about that. And of course, you got an interest there with Raheem Mostert. But the Lions, DeAndre Swift is probably going to miss this game due to an injury. He's probably not going to be long term. He'll probably coming back in here in the next few weeks. But DeAndre Smith is going to probably miss this one, and new quarterback Jared Goff is going to be making his debut here, so that could be interesting at least to watch for. The Pittsburgh Steelers will travel to the Buffalo Bills. That game could be interesting, no doubt about it. That could be a good shootout with Buffalo being, I would assume, the favorite, being there at home. And, of course, they made that big run in the AFC last year. But the Steelers are always a formidable team. It'll be interesting to see Najee Harris, the rookie, and, of course, Big Ben, how he goes up against that Buffalo defense. So that'll be fun to watch. And Josh Allen is definitely nothing to shy at. The Philadelphia Eagles at the Atlanta Falcons. This is a game. The Atlanta Falcons, I don't know. They just seem to me like they don't make a ton of big-time moves. I know they drafted a rookie receiver, but the running back situation with Mike Davis being their starter is kind of like, all right, then Matt Ryan, he's been there so long and he's not done much. I know they went to the Super Bowl that one year, but then they blew that big-ass lead against the Patriots. But, so the Philadelphia Eagles, I would pick to win this game, personally, the Philadelphia Eagles. But then again, the Eagles have had their own issues as well on offense, so they're still trying to get in Jalen Hurts. They got a rookie receiver of their own and things like that. So this game could go either way, I suppose. But it's kind of a game I'm not super looking forward to. But watch it be like the game of the week, that sort of thing. The Cleveland Browns will travel to the Kansas City Chiefs. That could be, again, a rematch of that big-time playoff game last year. That was much closer than many people thought it would be with the Cleveland Browns. If the Browns go into Kansas City week 1 and beat them, oh, buddy, that's going to be something to see, especially around the league. It's going to be like, whoa, it's going to send shockwaves throughout the NFL, no doubt about it. But two big-time offenses. Odell Beckham, I believe, is back healthy. So that'll be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out. And, of course, the Chiefs are always going to be good. That Cleveland defense has been pretty good, too, so we'll see what they do.
Yeah.
The Green Bay Packers will travel to the New Orleans Saints, even though, like I said, this game is going to be taking place in Jacksonville due to the hurricane that went through New Orleans. I think New Orleans is going to be a little bit displaced for the first month or so. Hopefully, they'll be able to get back into the stadium sooner rather than later. But when they do, it'll probably be kind of like when they returned from the Hurricane Katrina situation.
Yep.
It's going to be a big-time homecoming for the Saints when that does happen. It's just unfortunate the way that city has had to deal with so many hurricanes throughout the years. But Aaron Rodgers against a Drew Brees-less New Orleans Saints, so that'll be interesting to see how that goes. It looks like it's going to be who is the quarterback in New Orleans?
I was about to say, who's the quarterback for New Orleans now?
It's not Teddy Bridgewater. He moved on to Denver, which is the next game we're going to preview. But gosh darn it. Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston will be the starter for the New Orleans Saints, so with Taysom Hill backing him up, probably in Wildcat formations, things like that. So I would think Green Bay wins this, but mainly because everything the Saints are dealing with. But never say never. The Saints got a lot of heart. There's no doubt about it. And as long as Sean Payton's their coach, they've always got a chance here. The Denver Broncos will travel to the New York Giants. This game, again, it's Teddy Bridgewater versus Daniel Jones. The Giants have not really had a whole lot of time to work together on offense in the training camp and preseason because of all these slew of injuries. Saquon Barkley's not been able to practice. Kenny Galladay's same way. So there are going to be a lot of timing issues here, I think, for the Giants. So I'm going to take Denver here, personally. I know I'm kind of giving away some of my picks for the Pick'em League for those of you who are playing. But
I'm doing that too.
That's going to be the nature of the beast here, I think, unfortunately, if those of you who watch this show. But yeah, I think Denver with they've got a young rookie at the running back position, Javonte Williams. We'll see what he does. Of course, Melvin Gordon will spell him as well. But we'll see. I mean, it could go either way. All these games could go either way, really. We just don't know at this point. But yeah, I would expect Denver to have more offensive, gelling here between their players. The Miami Dolphins will travel to the New England Patriots. This is a game that, again, could go either way, just because we don't know what New England we're dealing with right now. Mac Jones being the starter against Tua. So 2 young quarterbacks could be fun to watch, no doubt about that. So we'll see what happens there with Myles Gaskin and Damian Harris, the running back. So that could be fun to see at 4:25. The Sunday night football game will be the Chicago Bears at the Los Angeles Rams. That could be interesting as well. What will happen with Justin Fields, or is it going to be Andy Dalton throughout this game? I think Andy Dalton has been named the starter, and of course the Los Angeles Rams are starting Matt Stafford, so that'll be fun to see how that goes. So yeah, that could be a good opening Sunday night game. And then of course the Monday night game this week is the Baltimore Ravens at the Las Vegas Raiders. Lamar Jackson and of course Derek Carr. The Raiders, we'll see what they do. I would think the Ravens in this one, but again, the injuries to the running back position could be a problem for the Ravens, so we'll see how that goes. But anything else stands out to you here for week 1?
Look, I know it's gonna be like in my house. All I care about is watching, honestly, is the Colts play and then Pittsburgh play.
They both play at 1 o'clock on Sunday, so you got to make a choice here.
We know how that's gonna go.
Or a lot, or a lot of the channel flipping.
Multiple TVs in this house.
Yeah,
no,
you just set it up side by side.
I'm going in the bedroom and cry over my Colts game.
Brother, have faith, my friend. Have faith. But, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I get it. You might both be crying because that Buffalo team is nothing to shy at either.
I know, Buffalo.
So it's going to be maybe a rough week for us here on the channel. So bear with us as we cry through our tears come next Tuesday morning here on the channel. But we'll have all the recaps and all the news and stuff coming out of week 1. Next week on the channel, we'll have a lot more to discuss here once these games get rolling in full effect. So with that being said, let's get out of here this week. And we hope that you guys will enjoy NFL week 1 here in the league. So if you're finding this for the very first time, please click the like and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get all the notifications about when we put up new content right here on this channel. Can't wait. 2 more days, guys. Kickoff is right around the corner. And until then, take care, guys.
We about to turn it on.